everyone, RemedyX here with all things nerdy, and today I'm going to be continuing where we left off on the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set review. So this set is actually out now, so I'm a little late to the party. These are taking me a little while to actually get time to record, because they take about an hour a piece to go through every single card of a color. I have like 5 more to do, I think. After this one will be 4. 3 more colors, and then I'll do 1 for multicolors and generic. So today we're going to be going over blue. Now last time I tried to click and filter just the white cards out, because that's what I started with. I think I preferred it with the up and down, so I'm going to just do this whole one this way, and then see how I like it compared to the other one. So, alright, so first one, we got Tezra, Betrayer of Flesh. He is blue, and 2 for legendary planeswalker Tezra. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. As a passive, +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 4/4. So this just works with vehicles. It makes it where you don't have to crew them, and it won't change their base power. It also can turn your non-vehicle artifacts into a 4/4. -6, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. Okay, so this is pretty powerful. It has like cost reduction on its passive ability. Now, the thing is, most of these abilities that you're going to activate first each round are going to be to produce mana. So it doesn't really do anything in that sense. You have to specifically change the order that you would normally do things in just because you're going to play this guy. You're going to have to like do your untap with Basalt Monolith once, and then, yeah, it's going to be weird because the tap is an activated ability, and there's no cost for it to reduce, so it will just whiff and do nothing. It does get emblem pretty quick, though. It needs 3 turns to emblem, 2 turns to go up by 1, and then 1 turn to actually do the emblem, which is solid. I don't think it's going to be seen in CEDH. It's a 4-mana planeswalker that doesn't impact the board enough as is. It is some decent card advantage, but we have a lot better than this in CEDH. So, probably not going to see play. Kairi? The Swirling Sky. I have no clue how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. 4 generic and 2 blue for a legendary creature, Dragon Spirit. Flying, ward 3. When it dies, choose 1. Return any number of non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hand, or mill 6 cards and return 2 instants or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. So, it's a big threat. It protects itself with ward 3, but when it does die, you either get to bounce a bunch of things, or you get to return like 2 counter spells, or your Limdul's Vault, or something like that from your graveyard to your hand. For 6 mana, I'm going to say no. It's not going to see much play. There are some niche cases I could see this being played, specifically in things like Kinnan that want to cheat it out. By cheat it out, Kinnan ramps it out, but there are other things that cheat it out, like Urza can, I think. Overall, I don't think this is going to see play. I don't think that decks really want die triggers very much. The enter the battlefield triggers are much more reliable because you just get it when it enters. Die triggers are much worse. Because, like, what if someone just Path Exiles this? You spent 6 mana, now you get no effect, you just get your land. Sure, they had to pay 4 to do it, because 1 for Path and 3 for the target for Ward, but nah. Jin-Jitaxis, Progress Tyrant, 5 blue for legendary creature Praetor 5/5. Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. When an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter that spell, and this ability only triggers once per turn. Ooh, this is really cool. So, yeah, I actually really like this. It allows you to like win a lot of spell battles because you just get 2 copies. So if they have to counter your spell, they have to now counter 2 copies of it. The original plus the copy, that is. Also, if you have an artifact come in and then you get an extra copy, the copy of the permanent is a token. Yeah, I did, yeah. But still, I could definitely see playing this in Kinnan. I should probably toy around with this because this seems really cool. Because if I get this off a flip with Kinnan, and then I cast... I mean, what's my worst mana rock in Kinnan? The Talisman, maybe? Am I still playing the Talisman? Arcane Sign it, I guess. Yeah, probably just Arcane Sign it. So I just, with Kinnan, I pay 2 to play Arcane Sign it. I copy it. And then with Kinnan in play, it taps for 2 by itself, and then the other one will tap for 2. So it's actually just a ritual in Kinnan, which is really cool. And then it also counters basically the first non-creature, non-planeswalker that each opponent casts each turn. That's really cool. He has 7 mana, so it's going to only be played in fringe decks like Kinnan that are going to try to cheat out some of the big dummies. But yeah, that's really good. It's very powerful. How about that? But it is 7 mana, so it probably won't see that much play. But in some decks, such as Kinnan, it might. It might. There's a lot of things competing with it in Kinnan. Some people still play Craterhoof, some people don't. A lot of people don't. A lot of people play Void Winnower, which is very, very good. And then some people, like myself, I play things like Diluvian Primordial. This might be Diluvian Primordial's replacement. I also play Blue Gearhulk. A couple other like just big dumb things like Consecrated Sphinx. If this replaced one, it would either be Blue Gearhulk or Diluvian Primordial. I would probably have to say Diluvian Primordial, but because if I have this in play and I do get a Gearhulk, it copies my Gearhulk, which allows me to get like 2 counters out of my grave or whatever, which is super cool. Because remember, my Kinnan list is a very reactive list. If you guys haven't seen my list, go check it out. I'm also playing the Hall Breaker Hoarder or whatever. Yeah, just some super big dumb things. Ginger Taxes would fit right in. The only thing is like, what is it competing with? So this definitely could see play. I could definitely see some people playing this. So, alright, on to the next. Invoke the Winds. 4 blue and 1 for sorcery. Gain control of target artifact or creature. Untap it. Ooh, okay. So it's a 5 mana permanent steal. That also untaps the thing. That's interesting. I don't think it's going to see much play because there's things like Gilded Drake, which are just better. But I don't know. It's cool. I don't think it's going to be CDH played, though. We have better steal things, I think. Like, why would I play this when I could play Bribery? So, which I'm not even playing Bribery, so. March of the Swirling Mist. X and a blue instant. As an additional cost, you may discard a blue card from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card discarded this way. Up to X target creatures phase out. No. I don't think this is going to be playable. Because to save like 2 creatures without even discarding a card, it's going to be 3 mana. Or it's going to be discard 1 plus this to phase out 2. So it's going to be like to save your creatures and stuff. And yeah, I just don't. And you can't discard land either because it has to be a blue card. I might have messed up on the white one with that saying you could discard a land. I don't remember. But you have to discard a blue card. So no, I don't think this is gonna see like any play. There might be some weird like ETB based thing, but odds are no, definitely not. Okay, we got one of the sagas. 4 mana, phase 1, return up to 1 target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Phase 2, return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand if you can't draw a card. Phase 3, transform it. It is a flying whenever you cast a spell. Your opponents cannot cast spells with the same mana value until your next turn as a 3/3 flyer. So it's 4 mana, so I'm going to say no. Initially, it's 4 mana to bounce a creature, which is not good. Just not a good rate at all. And then it slowly buys back an artifact, which is actually quite good, but it's 4 mana again and slow, so no. And then phase 3, it transforms into an okay creature that basically, if I cast my Pact in negation, my opponent can't. My opponent can't slaughter Pact in response. There's a lot of things my opponents can't do. If I play Force of Will, my opponents can no longer Force of Will, such as that. If I'm going to Ad Nauseum, someone can't Force of Will my Ad Nauseum, because they're both 5 CMC spells, which is cool, but it just takes too long. It is way too slow. Waiting 3 turns for this effect is not good enough. So, and it's already 4 mana, so now you're like, hey, if we make it to turn like 7 or 8, you know, or I have to like really ramp real hard. And what does it get you back? Like maybe a Lotus Petal that you crack to get it out there quicker? I don't know. A Jeweled Lotus maybe? Like that might be one of the best things you get back is Jeweled Lotus, because you cast your commander, one of your commanders, because you have a partner or something, and then with a Jeweled Lotus you ramp this thing out, and then like turn 4, say you go to stage 2, and then you get back your Jeweled Lotus to try to get your second commander maybe on turn 4. But still, that's just not good enough. Oop. Okay. Tashimi Reality Architect. 3 mana, 2 and a blue for a legendary creature, Moonfolk Wizard. 2/3. Whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to your hand, return to. Whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. So it doesn't. Okay, I thought. Okay, I thought this had to be my own permanent. Like I had to bounce my own permanent to do something, but no. This apparently, if I bounce my opponent's things, I still get to draw. That's better than I thought. It does have to be non-creature though, so that can be tricky. Return a land you control, or sorry, X in 1, return a land you control to its owner's hand, return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, only activate as a sorcery. So, the sorcery speed on this makes it kind of bad on the active. Um, This is tricky. There's a lot of combos you can do with this, like Mindslaver combos. I've seen a lot about this. I'm actually going to build this commander for casual. I think you could push it to CEDH as your commander, but it's going to be hard. And I don't think it's going to be a tier 2 even CEDH. It's probably going to be like tier 4 if you're going to go down that far. So I'm going to say it's going to see some play. People are going to try this, but I don't think it's going to be meta defining by any means. It's not going to be anything busted. It's going to be an okay deck, don't get me wrong, but yeah. Reality Chip. 2 mana, a blue and 1 for a legendary artifact creature, Equipment Jellyfish. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as it is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast from the top. Yeah, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. And as Reconfigure 3. Okay, so this is okay. This is definitely decent. You get lands from the top of your library in blue now, and you can cast spells, but it is 5 mana essentially because it's 2 to play, 3 to equip. You can look at the top card any time, even if it's not equipped. And it's only a 0/4. So I think some people are going to try to make this work. There's going to be like these Bolas Citadel decks and stuff like that that are going to try to get this to really work. So there is some applications for this. It's not going to be like a staple card or anything. It's okay. That's just all I would describe this card as. Okay. It is cool that blue now has an option to get lands from the top of their library. Because so far, green has a couple ways, and then white just got a way if your opponent has more lands in play than you. Red can only do it if they like exile the top card of the library, which is fine. That's the red thing to do. Black, I don't think black has a way for land specifically, other than like you get 1 land play with your Bolas Citadel, I think. So maybe, I don't know. It'll be cool. People will definitely try it though. Thousand Faced Shadow. 1 blue for a creature, human, ninja. Ninjutsu 4. Blue and 2. Flying. When it enters the battlefield from your hand, if it's attacking, create a token that is a copy of another target attacking creature. The token enters the battlefield tapped into attacking. Okay. Huh. Okay. This is cool. Trying to think of the application of this. So basically, you attack with something, your opponents declare no blockers, you ninjutsu this in, and then you make a copy of another creature in play tapped into attacking. And because they're past the blockers phase, that creature cannot be blocked. Which is definitely cool. So if you have like 1 big lethal creature, you can do this. It's definitely good with like Blightsteel stuff because you attack with 2 creatures, they block to try to kill your Blightsteel or something with a bunch of other things, and then you get to ninjutsu this in to make a copy of your Blightsteel to sack the original Blightsteel to put it back in your deck. So it kills 1 person, but I'm trying to think. This is tricky. So the ninjas deck will play this. So the like Yuriko ninja deck will probably end up playing this because it is just a 1 mana 1/1 flyer. So they'll play this for sure. And it has a ninjutsu on its own and its own upside. So they'll play this. It can also make copies of like Fallen Shinobi, which is really cool. So yeah, there's some application for this in like the ninja builds. The new guy that gives everyone ninjutsu, he'll probably be playing this as well. Trying to think if it has any applications outside of that, and I'm thinking not many, so I'm thinking that's really going to be it. Mind Link Mech. 3 mana, 2 and a blue, for an artifact vehicle. Flying. Whenever it becomes crewed for the first time each turn, until the end of the turn, it becomes... Mind Link Mech becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except it is a 3/4 vehicle artifact in addition to... Okay. And it has flying. Okay. So this just gets to become whatever you crew it with. This is actually really cool. So you don't want to crew it with your legendary creatures because you'll lose one of them. Oh, it does say non-legendary creature that crewed it. Okay. So if you crew it with a legendary creature, it just won't do anything. It'll just be itself, which is good. You could crew this with like a Dockside Extortionist, but it doesn't get the enter the battlefield trigger, so that doesn't really do anything. I'm trying to think what this works with. Like, what does getting an extra copy of a creature do? I'm trying to think of a creature that you want to use to crew this. And I really can't think of one. This might be in here for like the ninjas and stuff because it becomes the copy, so it would get the ninja. So like obviously like Fallen Shinobi stuff. Zatali would do it, but you want to be attacking with Zatali as well as Fallen Shinobi, but this like gives Fallen Shinobi flying essentially. It's interesting. This probably has some application. I think this card is actually quite good. I just can't think of the application currently. Like Rada, if you're in some teamer build, no, Rada's legendary. You can't do Rada. I don't know. There has to be something. I just can't think of what it is. So, Replication Specialist, 5 mana, 4 in a blue, creature, Moonfolk Artificer, flying. Whenever a non-token artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, create a token that is a copy of that. Okay. I'm going to say probably no. Some people might try to play this, but it is 5 mana for 3/4 that probably doesn't do anything the turn it enters. Because unless you're going to have mana to play this and then also play artifacts after, plus pay the mana for it, the turn it enters is going to be very bad. If it gets to sit, then sure, it's good, but it's just not worth its 5 mana investment. So if this was like 3 mana and you made it like a 2/2, you can get rid of the flying even. I could see it. But the fact that it's 5 mana kills it. Go Shantai the Lost Wisdom. 2 mana, 1 and a blue. Legendary enchantment creature Shrine. Flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. If you do, target player mills X, where X is the number of shrines you control. So I talked about this last time. I don't think the shrines are going to be playable. I don't think they're intended to be playable for CEDH or anything like that. I don't even think they're really going to be... I mean, they could be casual playable for like Commander and stuff, but they're not going to be competitive. So I don't even think they're going to be seeing standard play. Another Saga, which means I have to click on it because all the sagas in this become creatures. 5 mana, 3 and 2 blue. Creatures you don't control have -2/-0 until the end of the turn. Phase 2, if you have 1 or fewer cards in your hand, draw 4 cards. Otherwise, scry 2, draw 2. Phase 3, transform it. Flying, trample, gets 1/1 for each card in your hand. No. It is a base 0/0 on its transform, by the way. This card is 5 mana to just like soften your opponent's combat, which does nothing. And then the card draw is nice, right? Like the draw 4 if you have 1 or fewer, but then if you have more, you still get scry 2, draw 2, which is actually like okay. But then it transforms and it's just a flying trampling thing that probably only does like 5 damage, 6 damage. No, I don't think it's good enough. It's just too slow, doesn't do enough. Alright. Acquisition Octopus. 2 in a blue, artifact equipment Octopus. Whenever Acquisition Octopus or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Reconfigure 2 for a 2/2. Oh, sorry. I have a bit of an allergy thing going on right now. I don't think this is good enough. It's a 3 mana 2/2 that if you get some damage and you just draw a card, like, no. Because essentially, you're going to pay 5 mana, probably. 3 mana to play it, 2 to reconfigure, to hit and draw a card. It's way too slow. Sorry. Thirst for Knowledge. 3 mana. This is a reprint. For an instant. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. This card actually already sees a little bit of play in some decks. It is a perfectly fine draw card. If you're discarding artifact, is actually quite good because it's draw 3, discard 1. So you go down 2 cards to go up 3. So you net positive 1 card for 3 mana, and you get rid of this. So it does see some play. and not a lot. Like I said, it is a reprint. It does have a cool art. I like the art actually quite a lot. But no, I won't see a lot because it got reprinted. So discover the impossible. 3 mana, two and a blue for an instant. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Exile one of them face down. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. If it's an instant or sorcery spell with mana 2 or less. If you don't, put that card into your hand. Okay, so this is like 3 mana, dig for a counter spell. I get to cast it for free. I'm getting pop-ups on the bottom of my screen. If it's 2 or less, so if not, I draw that card. So no, I don't think this is going to see play. There's 2 mana things that are similar. They don't cast it for free, but this is only going to do that if you're digging for like a counter spell, a brainstorm. Counterspell, brainstorm, something along those lines. Cyclonic Rift, but it'll cast, but you can't overload it because it casts it for free, so you can't pay the alternative cost. I don't know. No, I don't think it's going to see play. I could be wrong. It could be grabbing things like Neoform, I guess, but... And it can grab tutors, but... I would rather just draw cards. Mobilizer Mech. 1 and a blue for an artifact vehicle. Flying, whenever it becomes crewed, up to 1 target vehicle you control becomes an artifact creature until the end of the turn. So, and it has crew 3 for a 3/4. This is actually a solid vehicle, I think, because if you crew it, you just get a free crew on something else. But vehicles is still not going to be a competitive archetype, so it's not going to see play. Anchor to Reality. 2 blue and 2 sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Search your library for an equipment or vehicle card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. If it has mana value less than the sacrifice permanent's mana value or scry to. Okay. 4 mana tutor to play. That tutors equipment or vehicles. So again, not going to see competitive play because there's only like 1 equipment that you might even think to, maybe 2 that you might think to play. So Sword of Feast and Famine, Umezawa's Jitte, and Skull Clamp are probably the best. Sunforger sees a bit of play too. Are the only things that you're gonna ever get with this. You're not gonna get a vehicle like I've seen decks play like Smuggler's Copter and stuff like that, but you don't want to tutor it. You don't want to sack an artifact or creature just to go get it and waste a card slot on this. No. Pro Supris Thief. 2 and a blue creature human ninja. Ninjutsu for 2, a blue and 1. Whenever 1 or more ninjas or rogue creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Okay. So the ninja deck might end up playing this, because it gives them a form of card advantage. Or not card advantage, but mana. Whenever 1 or more ninja or rogue creatures deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. It's an artifact. Yeah. Okay. So this is okay. Again, the ninja deck will probably play it, but nothing else. Essence Capture just counters a creature. You put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control as an instant. No, it's not going to see play. Not much, at least, unless you're in a really heavy creature meta, which isn't very common. This is a reprint, by the way, which is why I know it so well. Reality Heist, 7 mana, 5 and 2 blue. The spell costs 1 less for each artifact you control. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal you may reveal up to 2 artifact cards from among them. Put it into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, this is interesting. So this can pretty easily be 3 mana, dig through time for only artifacts. There might be some decks that actually play this. Problem is things like ad nauseum. You're not going to ever play this in an ad nauseum deck because if you flip this and you take 7 from it, it feels real bad. So it really depends on your deck. There are some decks that actually might end up playing this. The ones that really can crank out some artifacts, like the Brawl decks, the Fairy Girl. Whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment, you make a 1/1 Fairy or whatever, or Spirit. Yeah, that girl might play it. Brea might play this. There's some that really do crank out some artifacts. Like if you get a Dockside Extortionist, and then you just have a bunch of treasures, then you play this for 2 blue to dig 7 to grab 2 other artifacts. You can definitely combo with this, or get your combo pretty well with this. Problem is things like Collector Oof and stuff like that exist, but this could actually probably see some play. Awakened Awareness X in 2 blue, enchant aura, enchant artifact or creature. When Awakened Awareness enters the battlefield, put a X 1/1 counters on enchanted permanent. As long as enchantment permanent is a creature, it has base power, or is not a creature, it has base. What? As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it has base power and toughness 1/1. So you weaken your creature, but then you put 1/1 counters on it? That's weird. So this could be 2 mana, make my opponent's thing a 1/1. Nah, this is not going to see play. Not nearly good enough, but yeah, that's weird. I was really thinking it was going to be for like vehicles. Like, if it's not a creature, it becomes a 1/1 instead, but nah, it's not. It makes your creature a 1/1. And then you put X counters, and it has X counters on it. So if you spend like X is 6, you can make your 4/4 a 7/7. Oh no, spent 8 mana to make my 4/4 a 7/7. No. Futurist Operative. 4 mana, 3 in a blue. Creature, human ninja. As long as this card is tapped, it's a human citizen with base power and toughness 1/1 and cannot be blocked. Pay 3 to untap it. Oh. So it taps to attack, becomes unblockable because it's a 1/1 citizen that can't be blocked. And then after they declare no blocks, you can pay to untap it and make it a 3/4. I'm not really interested in the unblockable part. That makes it a human citizen with base power 1/1. I'm interested in the untap effect. I'm wondering if there's any like shenanigans you could do, like equip a creature has tap, do this, and then you can go infinite, kind of like the Pillow Pile combos and stuff like that. There might be some weird combo like Pillow Pile and stuff like that that you can use with this. There most definitely is. It's cool for sure. It's uncommon. It's 4 mana for a 3/4. It's not going to see any play. It is cool though. Unless you're doing that weird combos. That weird combo might see a little bit of play. Covert Technician, 3 mana, 2 and a blue for an artifact creature, human ninja, ninjutsu 2, a blue and 1. Deals combat damage to a player. You may put an artifact card with mana value less than or equal to the damage from your hand on the battlefield. So this just gets the ninjutsu cheat in your artifacts. That's kind of cool, but you probably only get this once because it doesn't have any form of evasion itself. Unless you're actually in a ninjutsu-based deck where you're going to bounce this back to your hand. No, I don't think it's going to really see play, because it only is going to cheat in like a 2 CMC thing. And you're paying 2 to ninjutsu it. So, I'm going to say probably not. It could, in like the weird ninja deck, but the ninja deck has better things to play than this. So, I'm going to say no. As an additional cost to cast this spell, tap an untapped artifact you control or pay 1. Counter target spell. Ooh, it's counter spell. But it's either cancel or tap an artifact, which most of the time is going to be a mana source. Could tap down your Winter Orb and stuff too. There might be some niche cases for this where in like a stacks deck you want to tap down your Trinisphere so you counter something and you tap it down, but they normally have better ways to do that. But I could see this seeing some play. It is kind of just counterspell, but with a negative effect, which just makes it cancel. But I don't know, it could. Futurist Sentinel, 4 mana, 3 in a blue, crew 3 for a 6/6. No. Mirror Shell Crab, 7 mana, 5 and 2 blue, ward 3, channel 3, 2 blue, discard it counter target spell or ability unless its controller pays 3. Ooh. So it's Aven Mind Sensor, essentially, but worse. So no, because we do play Aven Mind Sensor, but it's not an effect you need more of. Right, that's the thing I'm thinking of, is Aven Mind Sensor the blue one? Or is it Nimble Obstructionist? Aven Mind Sensor is the white one that stops tutors. It's Nimble Obstructionist, I think, that cycles to stop activated abilities, isn't it? Yeah, it's just Mana Leak. It's just... No, it's not Mana Leak, because it can counter a spell or an activated ability unless they pay 3. So it's kind of versatile. I could see this seeing like a tiny bit of play, but I think there's just better. So no. Mnemonic Sphere. Yeah. It's 2 mana, 1 in a blue artifact. Pay 1 in a blue to sacrifice it to draw 2 cards, or channel by discarding it and paying a blue. You draw a card. No, we got better draw cards. Moonfolk Puzzle Maker, 3 mana, 2 in a blue artifact creature. Moonfolk Wizard. Flying. Whenever a Moonfolk Puzzle Maker becomes tapped, scry 1. No. Planar Incursion. Incursion. 1 and a blue. Instant. Exile target artifact or creature, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. So... it's a blink effect, but it's 2. We have Reverberate already and stuff like that, so I think we just have better. It does give it a 1/1 counter, which is cool for things like Incubation Druid and stuff like that. But no, I don't think so. I don't think it's good enough. Short Circuit. 1 in a blue, flash, enchant, artifact, or creature. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets -3 and loses flying. Okay, but no. Sky Swimmer Koi. 4 mana, 3 in a blue, for a creature fish. God, my pronunciation today is awful. Flying. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. No, I don't think so. It has a good effect, but it's 4 mana. If this was a 2 mana card for like a 1/1 even, or a 2/2 with no flying, it would actually see play. But the fact that it's 4 mana, no, I don't think so. Some people might try to squeak it in, but no. Suit Up. 3 mana, 2 and a blue, instant. Until the end of the turn, target creature or vehicle becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/5. Draw a card. Nope. Snare Specialist. 4 mana, 3 and a blue. Ninjutsu for 3, 2 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand. No. Saiba Trespassers. 5 mana, 4 and 1. Artifact creature, Moonfolk Rogue. 4 mana to channel, 3 and a blue. Discard, tap up to 2 target creatures. Don't interrupt during their controller's untap. During their next untap. Okay. Yeah, no. Network Disruptor. 1 blue, artifact creature, Moonfolk Rogue, flying. When it enters the battlefield, tap target permanent. No, probably not. Spell Pierce. Guardians of Oboro. 2 and a blue for 3 total. Defender. Modified creatures you control can attack as though they did not have Defender. Oh. It's cool, but no. Moon Circuit Hacker. 2 mana, a blue and 1. Ninjutsu for a blue. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless it entered the battlefield this turn. Okay. So it actually has like a little merit. You get in with an attack, and then you bounce your thing back to your hand. No, I don't think it's gonna see much play at all, but it's something to keep in mind because it is blue to draw a card, but you do bounce your thing back to your hand, so you're gonna put that thing back to your hand. In some weird cases where you can make use of your ETB effect on a creature, then I could see it. Other than that, no. So, it's not going to see much play, if any, but it can do a cool thing. Arm Guard Familiar. 2 mana, a blue and 1. Ward 2. Equipped a creature has 2/1 and Ward 2. Reconfigure for 4. Nope. It's just like trying to protect your thing, but Hexproof's just better. Moonsnare Prototype. 1 blue. Tap an untapped artifact or creature you control. Add a colorless. Okay. 5 mana to channel. Discard Moonsnare Prototype. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on top or bottom of their library. Okay. So this is Steel Leaf Drum in blue, which does see some fringe play because it's tap an untapped artifact or creature you control to add a colorless. It does have an upside of you can channel it to put something the opponent will choose either on top or bottom of the library. No, it could replace Steel Leaf Drum in some decks that play Steel Leaf Drum. Other than that, no. Tamio's Completion. 4 mana, 3 and a blue, flash. Enchant artifact, creature, or planeswalker. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted permanent. If it's an equipment, unattach it. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities and does not untap during its controller's untap. Now, another Saga. So I gotta click on it, unfortunately. 2 mana, draw a card, then discard a card. Phase 1 and 2 do that. Exile it and transform it, yada yada. Comes back as a 2/3 spirit. So no. It is 2 mana, draw 2, discard 2, which is okay. Then becomes a creature. Is that good enough? Because it's slow? I'm going to say no. Yeah, no. It's just not good enough. Alright. Skip over the multicolor stuff. Skip over the artifacts. Let's go to the blue land. Atawara Soaring City. That's funny. I used this card for my thumbnail. The art, and it's actually blue. I used it for the white thumbnail. That's funny. Atawara Soaring City, legendary land, taps for blue, has channel, you can discard it, return target artifact or enchantment to its owner's hand. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Okay. Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't play this. I'm assuming all these lands are going to be this way. It's just like a fine legendary land, and then it has an upside that you can discard it if you control legendaries to bounce things back to your hand. Like it can be one, it could be just unsummon if you top deck it. Like, if you have 3 legends, it's just unsummon, which is okay, and it doesn't really cost you a spot because it's a land that doesn't enter tapped. It just replaces an island in your deck. So yeah, why would this not see play? Then we gotta go way down yonder to the stuff that came in the decks. First, we'll go over this thingy. 8 mana, 5 and 3, legendary creature, spirit. When this creature enters the battlefield, it enters with an indestructible counter on it. You may remove the indestructible counter to copy target permanent spell you control 3 times. Okay. It's 8 mana, and one time copies something 3 times without proliferation or some other way to replicate the counter. So I'm gonna say no because it's 8 mana. It is cool, but no. Universal Surveillance. X and 3, improvise, and draw X cards. Nah, we have better. We have Blue Sun Zenith. Like, why would I play that? We have Pull from Tomorrow. We got all kinds of things that do this. Katasuma the Animator. 4 mana, 2 and a blue, 2 blue. Legendary creature, Moonfolk, Artificer, flying. 2 and a blue until the end of the turn. Target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature. It gains flying. If it's not a vehicle, its base power toughness becomes 1/1 until the end of the turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 3 target non-creature artifacts. No, it's not going to see EDH play. It will see play in like casual. It's a cool card. It works really well with your vehicles, as a lot of this set does. It puts 1/1 counters on your artifacts, and then you can animate them, and then make them creatures to hit your opponent. But no, it's not going to see play. Imposter merch. Blue and 1 artifact vehicle. You may have imposter mech. Yeah, it's imposter mech. I don't know what I call. Did I call that merch? Did I add an R in? Yeah. Anyway, imposter mech. Enter the battlefield as copy of a creature an opponent controls, except it is a vehicle artifact with crew 3 and loses all other card types. I mean, it's cool. You can make this become a Dockside Extortionist, and you still get the treasures. You never want to crew it, though. You're never going to waste your time crewing it. Trying to think if there's some places that you would actually play this to copy your opponent's creatures, but I don't think so. Like, there are some copy things you want, like the 2 mana illusion guy, but nah, I don't think this is it. Research Thief, 5 mana, 4 and a blue, flash flying. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. No, because it has to be an artifact creature. Yep, no, not gonna see play. Kappa, Cannoneer. 6 mana, 5 and a blue. Improvise, okay. Ward 4, okay. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it. It cannot be blocked this turn. Ooh, okay. It's a cool turtle threat. There's going to be people who love this just because it's a turtle. For some reason, turtles is like a huge thing in the Magic community. And I'm totally cool with that. You guys collect whatever you want to collect. And that's super cool if that's what you like. It's a cool card. It's not going to see play. It costs way too much mana. Even with Improvise, most of the artifacts that you play already produce mana. Like, the only upside to having Improvise is you can just tap your treasures instead of sacrificing them. So, cool, but no. Definitely no. There is a kind of cool thing you could do. if you like turn to a Dockside Extortionist and you get like 5 or 6 treasures off it, you could cast this on turn 2 without sacking the treasures. You keep them because you just tap them down, right? And then if you could blink your Dockside Extortionist on turn 3 and you get 5 more, this will get 5 1/1 counters and can't be blocked, and then it's like a 9/9 and it just gets to hit someone, which is cool. I don't think it's CEDH playable though. Anyway, Cyberdrive Awakener, 6 mana, 5 and a blue, artifact creature construct, flying. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. When Cyberdrive Awakener enters the battlefield until the end of turn, each non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with base power 4/4. So this is like an artifact overrun effect. It makes everything you have a 4/4. All the non-creature artifacts you control a 4/4. No, it's not going to see play. It's cool, but no. It's 6 mana too. Access denied. 5 mana, 3 and 2 blue. Counter target spell. Create X 1/1 colorless Thopter creature tokens with flying, where X is the spell's mana value. So no, we already have things like this, like Spell Swindle. Is just better, because getting the mana is generally better than getting some 1/1s. So, no. And I think that is it. That is it for all the blue jazz. Okay. So we'll go on to black next. We're not going to do it right now. I'll get that in another video. This video has already been plenty long enough, and my allergies are kind of being bothersome. And I keep sniffling, and I'm very, very sorry for that. So, yeah, I appreciate everyone who takes their time to watch this. Overall, there really wasn't much in blue that's playable. Ginge Taxis is probably the most exciting thing in it all. Tashimi is cool and probably will see some play. The reality chip would probably see a little bit of play. This guy actually might see a little play. Thousand Face Shadows. Just because he's a 1/1 flyer. So the Ninja deck's going to really love this guy because he has upside as well. So there's that. I still don't know what application this Mind Link mech has. There has to be something I'm not thinking of. But I can't think of what it is. Other than that, was there anything else? The Octopus is too slow. Thirst for Knowledge already seen like mediocre play. Anchor Reality, no. Oh yeah, Reality Heist. This is like probably actually one of the coolest blue cards there was today, because it's like you can do like this artifact tribe kind of thing, and it's gonna be dig through time for artifacts only. So it's like kind of worse than dig through time, but you don't have to delve away your graveyard. Instead, it has affinity for artifacts, just not the keyword. So yeah, I mean, it's quite a cool card. I think it definitely can see play. Anything else that I'm like, oh, this was really good? Really quickly scrolling through here. Oh yeah, the Moon Snare prototype, like I said, it might just replace Steel Leaf Drum in some decks. I don't think you really want multiple of this effect, but maybe. Yeah, and that's it. So, yeah, I mean, there's a small handful. None of them were like... The ones that I think are probably the best is Ginge Taxis, and then the one I was talking about down here. I'm awful with card names. Reality Heist. Those are probably the best two out of them. I could totally be wrong, though. Maybe Tashimi actually turns out to be really good or something. So yeah, I'll be happy to be wrong if you guys want to tell me why. But until then, this is what I'm looking at. So I appreciate everyone who watched this. This was Remedy X with all things nerdy, and have a good day.